This week on Tune In Tuesday, we have Brian Campe. He is the race engineer for Sam Hornish Jr.'s number 12 Alliance Truck Parts Dodge.
Studied mechanical engineering at UNC Charlotte and participated in their motorsports program, which we had a Legends race car. We worked on it throughout the week. And then when I got to my junior and senior year, I actually volunteered for a cup race team here in the area and worked for free for about a year and stocked shelves at night at a Target and did all that stuff to get my foot in the door. The biggest thing is just to get in the area and get some experience working on the cars. Having experience working on the cars as well as the background knowledge in engineering is the best skill set you can have.
Holly would like to know, what kind of engineering did you major in, and what exactly do you need to study?
I majored in mechanical engineering, and I concentrated on the dynamics, thermodynamics courses and the electives and things of that nature. And I was lucky to have UNC Charlotte that had some focus classes in vehicle dynamics and power plants that were geared towards racing. So anything that's geared towards vehicles, anything of that nature would be the best thing to study.
Justin would like to know what it really takes to be a race engineer.
It takes a lot of time management. There's so many things that we can do on a weekly basis to help the cars out, but you have to really know which ones give you the most bang for your buck, and just managing your time. And we have a deadline every week. Meeting deadlines. You have a performance review every week. It's on national TV. So that's probably the hardest thing about being an engineer, and one of the greatest too at the same time.
Lisa would like you to explain why certain adjustments get made. For example, wedge, first track bar, first rubbers.
That decision's made sometimes even before the race, what our adjustments are going to be. We'll look in our simulation and look at what adjustments are the most sensitive to different areas of the racetrack. If a driver is loose in, we'll make an adjustment, say, on track bar. If he's tight everywhere around the racetrack, we'll make an adjustment with wedge. Or if he's loose on throttle, we may push a spring rubber. So it depends on where the driver has the problem on the racetrack. And then we also look to our tools and the engineering side and see, like, okay, what's the most sensitive adjustment that we can make to give us the best performance in the next stint.
Kayla would like to know the best and worst parts about being an engineer on a race team instead of a company or a firm.
We'll start with the worst part, we'll end with the best part. The worst part is probably the travel. We travel every week. It's a bit tough to get into any sort of schedule, have any sort of a normal life. So we put in a lot of hours. So those are kind of the two worst parts. But obviously the best part is, actually getting to see what you do on a weekly basis and you have a lot of input on what happens to the race car, and then obviously when you win, that's definitely the best part. There's a few feelings greater than that. I have children and I'm married, so those are pretty good, but winning's right up there at the top.
Gustavo would like to know how teams save fuel when they're supposed to be full throttle all the time.
The best way the driver can save fuel is just being, we say drive with an egg underneath his throttle pedal, so he's not working the throttle pedal in and out, that's probably the easiest way to save fuel, but he'll also let off the gas 100 feet earlier and wait to get back to the gas until you can get back to full throttle in the corners. And I think Brad did a very good job of it last year at Kentucky. He'd shut the car off going through the corners and then start it back up coming off the corner. So they have some clever ways. In the Nationwide Series, we can do a little bit more. That we're still carbureted. The Cup Series, it's a little bit harder to save fuel with the fuel injection.
Forrest is currently a mechanical engineering student as well, and he would like to know any advice you have for students trying to break into the industry.
It's similar to the other question. The biggest thing you can do is just get some experience working on cars and understand the workings of them, as well as the technical side of it, of the engineering side. And then obviously if you're trying to get into NASCAR, you have to move to the area. Nobody's going to find you if you're, like I was, in Alabama. Nobody was going to come looking for me. I had to come here. But there's other race teams across the country, from late models to sports cars to SCCA cars. There's somebody in your hometown that has a race car that would be more than willing to help you learn the cars and would appreciate the help you give them. So that's the best piece of advice I can give, is just get some experience hands-on working on the cars and understand that part of it as well as the technical side, and you'll have a big advantage over the people that just have the engineering degree.
All right. Thank you, Brian. That was race engineer for Sam Hornish Jr.